You should just ramble.
It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this city council meeting of the city of Monessen to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Orchakowski.
Present.
Councilperson Thomas.
Here.
Councilman Nestor.
Present.
Councilman Gregor. Mayor Mosher.
Present. I need to make a note that there was a executive session held before this meeting at 5:30 to discuss personnel matters. At this time, I'd like to ask Louis Thomas to lead us in prayer.
And bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you once again for this day, for allowing us to come to this council meeting and help us to be on one accord as we go forth with the business of the city of Monessen. Grant us wisdom, knowledge, understanding in all things, that we do what is best for the city and moving it forward. In Jesus' name we pray and thank you. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes for the previous meeting of the 9th will be held until the next meeting that we have. They're not available for us right now. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment on agenda items only.
Ernie Telegraphist, 29 Rex. Before I get into the agenda, was that published in the newspaper, your executive session?
Executive sessions don't have to be published in the
They
newspaper.
don't have to?
They're not public sessions.
Okay. Even though it's personnel matters too?
Especially because it's personnel matters.
Okay. Explain to me this permit for legal advertising for the sale of the building and property of city of Monessen next door. Do you have a buyer or no?
Yeah.
Okay, and how much money are you going to go into advertising this? Are you going to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000?
It's not that much, but it is something.
And what revenues or what avenues are you going to advertise it in? Just the Mon Valley paper?
By law, we have to advertise in the prevalent newspaper.
Just one newspaper? Well, how are you going to get anybody from that?
In which case, we'll go to the next step.
When's that? Next year when we'll be further behind?
As soon as possible.
Okay, then my last question is, what is number K on page 3? To enter a cooperation agreement with the Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland County for finalizing a redevelopment assistance capital grant. What's that all about?
That has to do with something that took place many years ago. We're trying to wind that down.
Wind what down?
And a RCAP that was done. You want to answer questions?
Yeah. Source in 2020 was provided a redevelopment assistance capital grant. Used to be an RCAP grant. They changed the name. This cooperation agreement is required by law. It's between the city of Monessen, Source, and the Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland County. They're an industrial redevelopment county. They're part of the county.
Okay, and how does Source in Monessen benefit from canceling?
Source is still there. This was for previous work. Like I said, this is a 3-year-old grant at this process.
Okay, but how's this going to affect Monessen as well as Source?
That's the whole purpose of this type of grant. It's for redevelopment. They put infrastructure into the facility down there.
Okay, so who's going to get the infrastructure?
Source through a grant.
Okay, now is this where we're leading to what the mayor was saying? He got hopes of some industry hiring people here. Is that what's behind this?
This was a grant for Source that's been here for some time.
I know, but is that what was behind this comment you made?
No.
About you have this industry coming in with more jobs?
This is not.
So they are not playing any role about adding new jobs.
It is not what I was talking about.
all I know is this, if you're gonna be giving sweetheart deals to corporations, you gotta stress that more than half of their employees are from Monessen. But otherwise, all your property school taxes are going to where they live. And that is like shooting yourself in the foot. And then that leaves the people of Monessen that shoulder the burden of all the
We
taxes.
understand the tax rolls quite well.
Well, then why is all these major corporations got less than 5% employees coming from Monessen?
That is not on the agenda. What else do you have on the agenda you
Well,
want to
this is
talk
part
about?
of it, Illumisource. So whatever Illumisource is gonna get out of this, they're gonna add some employees, and where they're gonna be all from? They're not gonna be from Monessen.
You missed the whole point. This was done in 2020, 3 years ago.
Yeah, but you're not saying how you're gonna finalize it. That's why I asked you, how is Illumisource and Monessen benefiting? Can you tell me who's gonna benefit what? So you guys are gonna enter into the negotiations with what purpose? What's your goal?
No. Can you explain any better?
I think it's explained adequately.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Linda Lacy, 1624 Maple Avenue. I just want to go on what Ernie said about Illumisource. Illumisource was sold, so how can the grant still apply to that?
well, it's still Illumisource, regardless of whether it's sold or not,
But-
it's still Illumisource. That's what the sign says on the building.
The sign may say that on there, but it does not belong to Illumisource. It belongs to Sims in Australia.
Sims owns Illumisource. It still belongs to Illumisource.
Illumisource is still operating.
Illumisource
I
is still a
understand it
thing.
under Sims.
Under Sims,
Sims is the corporate owner of Illumisource.
yes.
Correct.
Just like Cleveland
So
Cliffs
how
operates
can
here,
that
but they're
grant
out
still
of
work
Ohio.
for that? They're just gonna work on it because it's still Illumisource?
No, it has nothing to do with this Illumisource. It's 2020. Money was made available to them to do some development.
But it was sold.
They're still going to be operating.
They're still gonna be operating, they still gotta pay the debt.
I'm a little bit confused
Understand what
right
an
now.
RCAP is,
But
too.
Illumisource is just a name.
That's right, it's just a building.
It's a business.
It's a function,
Correct.
entity.
But Sims owns it.
And they're probably still
So
operating
the
it as
grant is going to
Illumisource.
go on a name? Because I'm a little bit confused about that.
Okay.
They don't even know.
No, they don't know.
No, we know quite well.
Let me ask a question.
Understand that one.
The former owner of Illumisource owns the building, correct? He sold the business within the building, but he still owns the facility,
I believe that's correct.
okay? There's a smelter that is going to be built. Is that what this is in reference
No.
to?
No,
Okay, this is the company that bought the guts, so to speak.
this is to reinforce the building.
Okay, but I mean, so is it for the owner of the building, or is it for the owner of the business inside of the building now? I'm just curious, I mean, I'm not trying to put
I
you on the
I don't know
spot.
the answer to the question.
Which one is it?
I never heard, I mean, I know what all this is, I know what RCAP is, et
Right.
cetera, I know the changes, I know everything of that magnitude.
It was for improvements to the property. They put in some concrete slabs to store aluminum byproduct.
So that's the company that bought the guts of it
Yes.
inside.
And this may have happened before that transferred. Like I said, this was in December
yeah.
of 2020.
Yeah. Actually, it did, but I'm
It
just,
did.
thank you.
Anybody else? Correspondence. Do we have any correspondence we need to recite?
Well, there are these.
We received something from the Refuge Authority to,
Make appointments.
we received a letter requesting make appointments to the Refuge Authority.
This is the one for our leaf collection.
We received a letter concerning leaf collection and Act 101 compliance.
This is for contribution.
And we received a contribution to the city.
This is a person that would like to do a project at the Civic Center, and Just looking for the approval to do that.
Okay. And there's the John Mandarino letter I didn't put with this. Okay. Could I have a report from our solicitor, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. We talked about the redevelopment assistance capital program grant for Lumasource. I worked with the Economic Growth Connection to Westmoreland County to put that cooperation agreement together. Also working with the engineers with regards to the sewage project, Phase 3D. The city needs to acquire easements for the properties located along the river. In line with that, I participated in a phone call, teleconference with Cleveland Cliffs. One of the city's sewage lines travels underneath one of their batteries, so we need to pay particular attention to that. The demolition letters have gone out to the property owners from last meeting's hearings. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you. City Treasurer, do you have a report for us?
Mayor, I gave my report last meeting, therefore I have nothing else to add at this time.
Thank you. City Controller?
I gave my report at the last meeting also.
Thank you. Which gives me an opportunity to talk about some of the things that expounded a little bit more about what we've got going on with things in the city. First off, we have an Act 537 plan, which really talks about sewage within the city and the need for the city to provide adequate services. It turns out that there is a neighborhood in the city that was done without being connected to the sewer system. Well, turn it out. Okay, fine, turn it out. The point being is that this neighborhood needs to have adequate sewage provided. It's really kind of a minor problem. It means that we extend the sewer line about 135 feet and put a manhole there. The cost of that will be in the neighborhood of about $100,000. That includes the complete milling and going curb to curb, replacing the road where we're doing this. I don't really see a problem with that, but it's something that we will probably be talking about in the future council meeting, getting approval to go forward with that project. There's also talk a little bit about somebody that passed away this past week, John Dudas. At the age of 92, he passed away on November the 11th. That's a very special day, and it's a special day for a number of different reasons. And let me just tell you, I like history a lot. President Adams and President Jefferson, our second and fourth presidents of the United States, they fought like cats and dogs, but in their older years, they got to be friends, they communicated with each other, and they wanted to live longer than the other one did. It turns out that both of them died on the same day within hours apart. 50 years to the day on July the 4th. Bear in mind that this country would not be a country without those two individuals. They were instrumental in the Declaration of Independence and forming the Constitution of the United States. And yet, they both lived 50 years to the day and died on the same day within hours of each other. So here we have John Dudas, who was an avid, and I do mean avid, proponent of veterans. He was part of the Historical Society, but he always represented the veterans of this municipality very well. He died on Veterans Day, 50 years to the day of when Veterans Day was established on November the 11th. And that to me has significance. I'm not saying exactly what caused these things to occur, but I think that there's something that did. He was a graduate of Monessen High School in 1950. He served 6 years in the National Guard and served in Germany along with the Korean War. He then owned the Dudas Sunco service station in Monessen. He went to work for the PA Department of Revenue in Harrisburg. He worked as a dental technician for Dr. Dudas Dental Associates and continued for several years. He was an avid skier. He formed a ski club. He was also a member of the Knights of Columbus, a 4th degree, and over his lifetime held office as Grand Knight, District Deputy, Faithful Navigator, and District Marshal. He was a member of the Epiphany of the Lord Parish. in his community with the Monessen Senior Center, can't talk. He was also part of the Monessen Historical Society. With that, I'd just like for everybody to keep that in mind, that he was a very strong proponent of Monessen, and I really had a lot of respect for the man. I have a proclamation here I'd also like to read. This is a proclamation for Tree City, USA. Whereas in 1872, Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now I therefore, Ron Moser, Mayor of the City of Monessen, do hereby proclaim November the 11th as Arbor Day in the City of Monessen. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support its efforts to produce trees and to protect our trees and woodland. Further, I urge citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of this and future generations. In witness thereof, I have herefore set my hand and caused the seal of Monessen to be affixed to this 20th day of November 2023. We talked about the sewer plant. This time, I would like to have somebody read some motions for me.
Starting with F. Motion to appoint John Mandarino to the Mon Valley Refuge Authority for the open term expiring 12/31/2024, beginning immediately.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Motion to advertise for participation for a term on the Mon Valley Refuge Authority commencing on January 1st, 2024, and ending on December 31st, 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Motion to permit the appropriate second legal advertising for the sale of the building and property of City of Monessen located at 557 Donner Avenue in the City of Monessen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Motion to advertise for a special meeting of council to discuss the budget and all relevant tax levy issues for the City of Monessen for fiscal year 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes. At this point, I think we want to establish November the 24th as the day to turn on all the Christmas lights in the city. I'd call it Light Up Night, but I think that Pittsburgh has that actually trademarked, so I can't call it that. Go ahead with the next motion.
You want to talk about December 2nd, too?
Yeah, I mentioned that too. December 2nd,
December 2nd.
that's the Christmas
The Thrill of
Hope.
celebration.
Yeah, December the 2nd is when we're going to have a parade that's being coordinated by his place. There'll be a parade, there'll be Santa, there'll be breakfast with Santa. I believe that they're having breakfast with Santa at the Orchard Church.
Yes.
It was a very good thing last year, and I look forward for good things this year.
I'd like to make a motion to enter into a cooperation agreement with the Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland County for the purposes of finalizing a redevelopment assistance capital grant for the LumaSource facility renovation project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
This is first I heard about this? Did I miss this somehow? Where did this come from? When did this come from?
This deals with a redevelopment assistance grant that the LumaSource received back in December of 2020.
Excuse me, Ernie. I want to hear him, I don't want to hear you.
So with every type of this grant, the host municipality has to enter into a cooperation agreement with the grant sponsor, which is the Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland County. They are an industrial redevelopment authority out of the county. This is that cooperation grant.
I'm just curious why,
So,
first I've heard of it.
so was the city, being that the grant was issued in December of 2020.
So it gets presented tonight and we vote on it tonight? I
No,
haven't read.
no, no, no. What we're trying to do is, we were approached by the individual. He wants to close this grant out. He wants to pay it off.
Who wants to pay it off?
He wants to pay it off. But we're part of this agreement, so we need to make sure that we are formally part of it. Is that correct? Is that
Yeah.
stated properly?
Correct.
He received the money in 2020. He did his development. He did everything he was supposed to do. Every year for the last 3 years, or the last 2 years that I've been here, we've received these notifications that, hey, this needs to be paid, the annual payment needs to be made. In other words, the city was on the hook at the same time. What this does is finalize an agreement such that this can be closed out, paid off, and put to bed.
I don't particularly care for the short notice on this. I would like to have read this ahead of time, but I did. But,
Does it have to be done today? If people need time to look at it, can we do it in the next meeting or no?
That's up to council.
It's up to
So we
council.
have-
I mean,
tell me, Joe, this is just closing out that grant already, right?
It is.
There's no liability on our part?
Well, that was part of it. We did have a meeting with Economic Growth Connection of Westmoreland County, and I worked with their solicitor to put the appropriate indemnity language in there.
Okay, so this ends our responsibility, our liability?
As long as everything, they finalize the grant appropriately, and the county's making sure they do. Everything has been pre-approved already, so,
Okay,
yep.
that's all I want to know.
this is one of the steps in the process. Comfortable with calling the roll?
Councilman Orchakowski? Sure, make me go first. Yes. Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. Councilman, or Anthony, would you like to take over?
Sure, thank you, Mayor, appreciate it. Motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $64,718.59. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the recreational account in the amount of $143.25. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund in the amount of $1,047.04. All invoices are attached as attachment C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the liquid fuels account in the amount of $11,846.78. All invoices are attached as attachment D.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay retired employee health benefits in the amount of $8,951.96.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
And a motion to pay Mon Valley Hospital $169.62 for services rendered.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman
There's a
Gregor?
bill.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question in regards to that motion. The motion to pay Mon Valley Hospital, was that the invoice from April 2022?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Who was that for? What was that for?
Mon Valley Hospital.
It was for one of our employees that went to the hospital. He did not have his debit card with him, so he accrued a bill. It should have been paid through the debit card. It just took us that long to figure this all
Okay.
out.
Gotcha.
Okay, Mayor, the following balances are in the accounts as of today. ARP, $237,613.26. Debt service, $1,121,863.36. Fire escrow, $21,076.62. Grant fund, $88,908.07. Refuge, $69,920.37. Line usage, $752,307.61. Liquid fuels is $140,009.88. Parks is $47,959.79. Payroll is $4,838.94. The recreation is $3,875.84. Healthcare is $2,929.84. And the general fund has $444,619.97. And Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lewis, would you like to give us your report?
Good evening, everyone. The Streets Department report for October 2023. Collect their garbage twice a week throughout the city, cold patch several streets, repaired 3 catch basins and cleaned out several more, ran a street sweeper throughout the month of October, put up signs throughout the city, marked 65 PA1 calls, blocked off Rebecca steps from Lenaway to Rebecca, and helps the Parks Department as needed. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilman John, would you like to give us yours?
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor, members of council, row office, citizens of Monessen, here's the following reports for the code office for October 2023. Parking fines and forfeitures and forfeits, $50. Miscellaneous collections are the following. Copies of police accident report, $345. Restitution, $34.44. Total miscellaneous collection is $379.44. Court receipts for the, from the district's justice office is the following. Vehicle code fines collected, $644.75. Crime code fines collected, $356.50. City ordinance collected, $2.14. Code enforcement collected, $100. Total receipts from district justice office is $1,103.39. Total receipts collected for October 2023, $1,532.83. Total citations for October 2023, 72, year-to-date, 981. The following report is the Mon Valley Emergency Medical Service. Emergency calls 120, fire standbys 12, reefer 1, total incidents 133. Next will be the Monessen Municipal Fire Chief report for October 2023. Vehicle accidents 3, structure fires 2, trees down calls 1, natural gas leaks 3, medical assistance 1, automatic fire alarms 7, false alarms 1, landing zone 1, public service 1, electrical fire 2, gas spill 2, calls outside the city, automatic alarm, Ross Straber Township 1, structure fire, Washington Township 1, total calls 26, total firefighters 253, firefighters per call 9.73, total man hours 264. Firefighters have installed 20 smoke detectors so far. If you're interested in the number to call is 724-684-7833. Please leave a message. Final report is the code activity report for October 2023. Habitation permits 12, correction letters 21, animal complaints 10, total 7 raccoons, 1 dog, 2 rats. Miscellaneous complaints 30, health inspections 3, office meetings with residents 5, citations issued 5, hearings 2, building permits 4, zoning permits 7. Miscellaneous for complaints of grass, noise, abandoned vehicles, and homes. Also, the municipal fire chief is working on a list of line items to be handed to the CFO. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you. I yield the floor, and I wish everyone a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Line item?
Councilman Don.
What line item?
We currently have money allocated for both uptown and downtown for the municipal fire departments. If they have anything that they would like, they should be giving that information to the municipal fire chief so that it can be passed on to us so we can make sure that we use the ARP money to pay for those items.
Let me
So,
get this
like, if
straight.
someone
So
wants,
if
like-
they turn something in and something else comes up like a vehicle repair, they can't use that money then for vehicle repairs?
We're going to, so there's no discrepancy in the ARP and how it's being spent. We requested that there be a line of list of items. Apparently, you mentioned repairs and things of that nature needed to be done. We'd like to have a list so we could have everything total to the amount we're going to still allocate and make sure we have our ducks in a row in case they come back on the ARP funds and say, what did you do with this?
Again, the question is, say that we put in, I know what we put in for. If all of a sudden it turns out that I have emergency repairs on a truck, I won't be able to divert that money without, yes or no?
I can't answer that because you're asking something that's a hypothetical
Are
question.
you saying before the money's spent on the list of
Yes.
equipment? I think you would be able to amend that should something come up.
Well, I just
between
want to make
now
sure
and now.
we'll be able to amend it.
Oh, of course. I
Okay.
just want to have a list on,
I just
so,
wanted to double check because unfortunately, that scenario has just occurred. We had a vehicle go out of service and it looks like it's gonna require at least $15,000 worth of repairs. And we'd sent something else in.
I don't have anything, so officially you didn't do anything yet.
Well, we're wording,
It'll work out.
We approved our document at the meeting the other night, and just as we did, we were hit with the $15,000 bill for Hilltop, so. that document-
and actually the bill is probably going to be closer to $40,000 if we get everything fixed.
Is that on a fire truck?
Yes.
Buy a new fire truck.
If you have $335,000 on you, we'll be glad to do that.
Trust me, if I have $300,000, I would donate to the fire.
And I believe you. I believe you. All right, just, so we can amend it if we need to.
Absolutely, I have nothing in now, so.
Okay.
Oh, I can find out how old this is.
Well, we had planned on getting it turned into use. And we, actually, like he said, we voted on it, approved it at a meeting, and then this came up. So we
Sorry
may
to hear
have to
about
Don,
amend
the
it.
ball's in your court.
Always is, always is. I have a question for you, before we go any further. That ARP money, you said there's 237,000 plus. Is that earmarked for anything?
No, because well, of course, the money we're giving the fire department for the 15.
It's coming, yeah, so you're taking 30,000 off of that, so you're gonna have $207,000
Correct.
left. Anything else?
We have talked about that, and that's still something that's open for council to decide what's the best way to use it.
Well, because I have a question, and this might be for a solicitor. Can we use that money to fix roads?
That's one of the things we've been talking about for a long time.
Yes?
We've already used some of the money for that already, and we'd like to use more.
Yeah. But we had that conversation about Evergreen, and that would be $67,000 to do it the right way, correct? Well, if, that would be a worthy project that would benefit a lot of people in Monessen.
And
Something to
it should be
consider.
considered, absolutely.
Let me caveat with this. There was a revised final rule issued about a month ago that I need to take a look at specifically.
Okay,
for
that's
this.
why I'm asking you, Joe. Thank you. If you could look into that and get back to me, I appreciate it.
Do you have anything else you'd like?
Yeah, my report, Parks Department report for October 2023. Picked up leaves throughout the park, picked up litter and got garbage in the parks. Fixed a few broken picnic tables, winterized all the parks, bathrooms and concession stands, helped the streets department as needed. That concludes my report.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment on items relating to business, responsibility, statutes, codes, and ordinances of the city of Monessen. We'd very much appreciate it if you would be clear, concise, and to the point.
Ted Harhide, 344 Helen Avenue. I have a question for you. When I had mentioned about the properties that were built up on the old high school and junior high, you made a comment because we were talking about Matt Urim and Serenity Farms, and I said that Westmoreland County, Westmoreland Community Action built those. And you made a comment. And I didn't know anything about the proposed development in Linden. I don't particularly care what you develop. That wasn't part of my issue. My issue was to say that was a nice project. I was on that board at the time. Also on the board, a person you would know is Dottie Staffen. She's on Senator Ward's staff. So she would know about it. And it worked out well. We borrowed that thought from Jeanette.
I'm very familiar with it.
And it worked out well. But you made a comment, and I thought it was negative, and I thought, how could you have
No,
it?
never said that.
Okay. I never said a negative comment about Linden. They called it Linden Park, and then I just asked something about it. After that meeting, and I just found out some information about 3 days ago, on your posted thing, you did not post this, but Matt Urim posted an attack letter. About 3-4 pages long. Not long. I could read it if you'll let
So
me.
what does council have to do with this?
Well, it talks about how he already has a contract set up, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's the reason that I brought up the
So what are
next
you
thing.
asking council to do?
I'm asking you to listen to me read what he wrote about me.
I'm not interested, I've read that already. I don't necessarily need to see it, but if you're asking council to make a decision on something, please ask
Did
it.
all of council see the post that he put on about me?
Was this on Facebook?
No. Ron said never, or he said never anything about Facebook. Facebook, there's another guy that the other part of the team
Where was this posted at? Is
on Ron's post.
on Facebook.
I don't believe it's, I'm not a Facebook,
I don't post anything, so it'd
yeah.
have to be
So
something.
anyway, it says
posted.
Ron's post, Ron Mosier, September 28th council meeting. It was posted right after that. I mean, this guy annihilates me for stuff I didn't even say.
Yeah. There's nothing council can do about that, so.
Well, if I can't read it, I have copies if anybody would be interested to see it. It's amazing because I'm such a bad guy.
Well, we've known
And-
that for years, Ted.
You already knew that.
We knew that for a long time.
Now, you've talked about civility and all the other things, and I just want, if you read this, why didn't you comment on it?
I didn't write it, I didn't read it, it's not part of.
You said you read it.
I read it, I did not see any need for me to participate in that.
Okay, here, I'll give you the quick and dirty, I won't read it, but,
Yeah, that's Facebook.
Yeah, this is Facebook, isn't it?
I have no, I don't know. Someone called me up and said, you need to look at this. So I said, I'm not worried about it. They annihilate me enough.
So again,
I
let's
don't
keep it
need-
to
Well, let-
business, responsibility, statutes, codes, and ordinances of the city of Monessen.
Okay, it'll be quick. It's not, so I didn't look at it then. The next day, he said, you gotta look at this thing, man. So I went and I looked at it, or I went to look at it,
Okay,
and it
we
was
understand.
erased. 3 days ago, someone gave me this thing,
Okay,
and I read it in its entirety.
okay.
And you wanna talk about a scum person writing
It
a
has
scum
nothing to
thing?
do with business,
Well, it does, because
responsibility,
he
statutes,
says
and
here,
codes.
let me just say this one
And
thing.
regardless of what he said, it has nothing that I said.
Did we bid on a contract for Matt Urim of Serenity Farms to break ground in 2024?
No.
That's not what he says here.
The redevelopment authority is working to deal with them, but that has nothing to do with the city.
But you have to vote to approve it.
No.
I thought you said you are part of the.
Well, wait a minute, the redevelopment authority cannot act alone without you approving and voting on something that they,
They own the property.
yeah, but don't you have to vote on it, give a
No.
final vote for the
No.
property?
No.
It's their
They're a
property.
separate authority.
Mm.
They can do whatever they want.
So, that's not a good thing, because
That's why the
there's
redevelopment
gonna
authorities
be a
don't want it
special
down.
deal here with somebody, I don't know who this guy knows, but there's gonna be a special deal done on Linden, and he said another place, I don't know where it is. I was just concerned when he called me a whore and a number of other things, but, I thought you would comment on that. That's not a guy you wanna do business with. And he changed his story about 3 or 4 times, is what I'm
Fine, but that
saying.
has nothing to do with the city.
Can you go and talk to the redevelopment authority, and I know who that
No,
is.
you can go to the redevelopment authority with me and we can talk to them
Okay.
there. But that has nothing to do with this.
Okay. This was an editorial in the paper that dealt with the meeting.
It still has nothing to do with the council.
Well, one, it says that I
If-
mocked Lois, which I did not, and I wanted to say that I did not mock her.
Well, I saw you very much mock her. Did you read that in
No,
the
I asked her,
Bible?
I said,
That's mocking.
I went like that.
That's-
They said I looked at heaven, which I
Okay,
did.
fine.
They sensationalized it, is what I'm
Let's
saying.
not get into this.
Well, no, and I'm just saying that I
That
did
is
not
an
say
editorial.
anything.
That is an editorial that was written by somebody else, has nothing to do with
That's right,
us.
and I think Joe Delfonso, part owner, is
No,
very
he's-
much a part of this.
No, that's not the case.
Yes, it is, it's absolutely
not
the
the
case.
case.
And they sensationalize things when it hammers me, and then we downplay, or we
Okay,
lie,
but that
or
has
we
nothing to
suppress.
do with comments on items of business.
That's the business here.
Responsibility, court, that is between you and the newspaper.
Simple human decency, that's what
That's
you
between
asked
you and
for.
the newspaper.
That's what you asked for.
That's right.
That's not what they did.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pino, 45 Montraver Drive. Since I mentioned Montraver Drive and they blacktop all the road going in there, do you think they'll be able to put the arrows back on? The white arrows telling you which directions to go? Yeah.
Did they repave where the arrows were?
They didn't paint the yellow lines and they didn't repaint anything else.
Well, we can talk about that, yeah.
Okay, and then I like to go, Mr. Nestor, you weren't here last meeting, and I just wanted you to know, if you done, whenever you made the comments last month about, the garbage at the school, that was your job. That was his job. That was his job. That's not our job. We don't do industrial or commercial. So I don't know what your job is, but I know that when you first took off, I remember you had a Bible, your wife, and a kid. And you put your hand through the Bible.
And the Constitution, too.
And the Constitution, too, right? How about you abide by?
I think I'm doing quite swell with that.
I think
Thank you
you're
so
not
much
doing a
for
very
coming
good
down
job.
here. I thank you, and I wish
I
you a
think you're
blessed
not being,
Thanksgiving.
I don't think you're doing a
I
very
wish
good
you a
job.
blessed Thanksgiving.
I think
Thank you
you're-
so
I
much for
think-
coming down
Let me
here,
finish,
Pino. I
let me
thank you.
finish. I think you're talking to your king. You deal
I
with
thank
your
you for
king.
coming down here, Pino. I
Okay?
really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm just telling
Thank
you,
you.
This is nothing that
Thank
the
you.
council can
Thank
change.
you.
the
Pino.
job,
Keep it on track.
Pino, please, let's keep it civilized, because if it doesn't, this is gonna end right now, and everybody's gonna be frustrated, and I'm done.
Okay, but I wanna make sure-
I'm asking you, please,
I want to make sure he knew that was
It doesn't
missing
matter.
for, well, it does matter to me.
then let's keep it to yourself.
All right, no, it
please.
doesn't. I have to tell you.
I'm asking you, please.
Oh, that's not a problem with please, Tony. I'm a pretty straight guy when it comes to the situation. And if you're gonna walk around with the Bible in your pocket, then goddamn do what's right by the Bible.
That's why
Okay,
we
but
live
let
in
me
the great
finish.
nation.
Hey,
we live in.
let's.
I said what I had to say.
Get back on track.
I said what I had to say.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Now, I wanted to ask you, on the November 9 meeting, the 9th, on the monthly meeting, did you talk to anyone from the Cleveland Cliff about the dirt and dust in that equipment?
About the dirt and dust in the equipment.
Yeah, the equipment that they run, whenever they clean up the street down there by Janini's, how they make all that dust. Have you talked to anyone about
all
that?
that dust when it sweeps.
Have you talked to
I've
him?
talked to him. I did not talk to him about that. I will make a note of it and talk to them about that, though.
I think that's what we did. I didn't bring that up that day because I
Yeah,
think it
it
needs to
got
be
dropped.
talked
I
to.
apologize.
Being that they have billions of dollars, at least take care of Monessen. And then, What progress have you made in the viaduct bridge?
Let's be very clear about this. The state has assigned a company through PennDOT to do an inspection of that bridge. They have done that inspection, and they asked the city to go in and fix the potholes. So we are in the process of fixing the potholes.
I mean, you're gonna fix it according to,
According to the specifications set aside by the company that the state assigned to it.
okay? On Grand Boulevard and Marion Avenue on a Restraver line, I haven't noticed any repair or any change. Have you looked into that? That was brought last month to me.
I have not. This is where they were doing the sewer work?
That's between Grand Boulevard, Marion Avenue to Rush River line. Okay?
That was the water.
I haven't noticed any repair being done at all in the last 2 weeks. Not that I expected to, but I expected maybe you have something to tell us that maybe you're on the work to do that.
I don't have anything on that.
I hope you take some action on that.
I will say that, first off, USDA and Pinvest are not street people. They don't do roads. And it was made very clear to me, much to my chagrin, that they are companies that fund sewer work. So they will dig up the road for the sewer work. When they go to fix the road, they will fix what they dug up, no more, no less. Now, the water company has been much more cooperative. They've been much better working with the city and doing curb-to-curb restoration.
I don't know which one is doing a better job. I hope that both of them do. Okay?
Okay?
I'm not looking for, who's in fault. I know that they got to repair the roads, but at the end of the day, the roads are terrible in Monessen, period.
That's right.
Okay? Then, I know that I talked to the chief of police one day about the drugs in Monessen. Is there any deal going on, any task force in?
There is very much a task force for drug enforcement, yes.
For drug, what is your plan on drugs?
Well, they have a plan. They are doing things. That is something that's confidential and between the police and what they're doing.
Well, about 2 months ago, I think there was a problem up to school, right, on drugs? I mean, have they followed that through?
They follow through all the leads that they get.
I mean, when you say they follow through, do they ask for help, like for the sheriff's department in Westmoreland County, or the
If required, they do.
or the state police, or call the attorney general?
They
Or
do
do
if
we have to
necessary.
do that as
No,
as
they
Actually, Mayor,
citizens?
real fast,
in
I
Monessen?
just want to be clear too, just to go back, because you mentioned the school. There was no issues with drugs at the school, it was just a routine inspection that was impromptu, if I'm right, chief? Yeah, there was no drug issues, it was just a routine stop inspection where the municipal, police chief did an inspection of lockers and everything, it's random
So
routine.
2 months ago, a high school football player got busted with some drugs, so that doesn't have nothing to do with the school?
I don't recall, and I can't comment on
Well,
the investigations that might be
that's the
going
whole
on.
thing. If we don't stay, on track with that, then we're never gonna
We
recall.
also have to keep in mind
I
that these are
think
juveniles that are
that, this is what I think. I think the Monessen kids, I have no kids. I'm the perfect parent, okay? But the Monessen kids that I pay taxes every damn year for, and I educated a whole bunch of you guys, I think they need to do a better job in terms of make sure that Monessen is clean, so people could go to school there, so you don't have to have Central Catholic or some other school come up and pick your kids up out of Monessen and take them to their school because they don't want no part of Monessen.
Okay.
So there were 3. The other question was like, did Monessen receive any grant the last 2 years, the police department?
Yes,
Because from Los Angeles,
not from Los Angeles, but from the state,
LA.
the state.
If you look back in your records, you're gonna find out that, from what I understand, I'm not sure about this, okay, so if there was a person
What's the
from
question you have for
Monessen.
the city?
Pardon?
What is your question?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you one more time. if you don't cut into when I'm talking, okay? Monessen Police Department received any money in the past 3 years for drugs participation?
I said yes,
From who?
from the state.
Wait, are you asking about the opioid settlement?
Yeah,
The city did not qualify for
Yeah.
that. They don't have enough residents.
Right.
they didn't qualify
They
for
didn't
it?
qualify.
That was a federal lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
based on the number of residents in the city. They did not qualify to be part of that class action settlement.
So they collect the money at one point though, right?
That was from those were PCCD grants, two different issues.
Separate dish.
But they did collect money for 2 years. That's what I'm getting to. Now you say you're collecting it from the state.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't.
Is there a set amount that you collected? Is something that we should know?
It's a grant that.
How much was the grant for, Chief?
I think it was $180,000,
Yep.
give or take, so,
Mm,
186, Chief?
something like that, yeah.
And then also, okay, I'll take you on your word. I just hope that the drug situation soften up. And by the way, I think you said something, Monessen speed limit is 27 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour?
The default is 25, yes.
Well, you know, whenever I listen to the news and I see Drabosburg, you know, the little town past Clinton where that little girl got hit by a car, and then you see all the neighbors come out and say, oh, you know, this car's going too fast, they should put a stop sign, they should have a policeman, they should have a light. You hear all of that, right? She's dead, right?
Yep.
It's gonna happen in Montreal. We got 13 little kids. They're this high. And if you sit there and watch them fly by there, it's gonna happen. And I don't
Right.
see no policemen come to that damn town to, other than drive through, but no one stops there and say for once in a while, hey, let's check this out. Cars going the wrong way. The same assholes that have been doing it for the last 5 years,
Okay,
okay?
we understand the point, the question, and so forth. Thank you.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done, dude.
Next.
Just relax. The street lighting in Perennia and Tyrell Boulevard. Whose responsibility are those?
Well, West Penn's the ones that has the streetlights. We pay the bill.
Oh, I thought that they claimed, I talked to some of them and they said that it's the responsibility of Monessen.
We don't provide electricity. We don't provide the lights. They provide the lights.
So you say it's none of your responsibility, is that what you say?
We are responsible for the bill.
I called West Penn Power and asked the same question.
Okay?
They informed me Monessen is responsible for the poles and the light maintenance.
That's news to me because they're
Well,
their poles. In fact, we're not authorized to be on those poles. We don't have linemen working for the city. We don't have the equipment to do that. It is not our poles.
Have you called them?
I talk to them all the time.
Have you called them and tell them exactly what I'm telling you?
I call them all the time.
Well, how come they told me different?
I have no idea.
Okay. But you mind checking with them?
I will check again, but I know the answer.
Okay, and my one next to the last question is, on 6th Street, I don't know if you guys are familiar with 6th Street right here? When you go up the hill, you know, like you go into the old school,
Right?
and you make the first turn, and you come to the second turn,
Right?
look up on a hillside. Half the hillside is down on the ground. It's gonna end up on the road. It's gonna hit some cars.
The wall is collapsed.
Yeah. I mean, it's gotta be fixed. You know?
I understand.
So whenever you say we're doing,
So can we hold off painting your street and spend that little bit of money on fixing the wall?
if that's what you need to do to fix it, you do it, asshole.
Oh, that's what we do.
We can't have this.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's how you're gonna answer, yes, you're an
I'm saying
asshole.
we got problems with money.
Don't get on my case. Do your damn job like you're supposed to. Don't be an asshole.
Sure.
I'm Larry, this is my wife Sharon. We're purchasing a property up here at 23 High Street. I think I spoke with you. I
Yes.
spoke with
Well, pleased to
Marvin.
meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Hope we can get this settled. But we just wondering, you're hooking up the public sewage. the sellers are paying for it, I know that.
Yes.
Do we have any idea when, because
The-
we sold our property.
Yeah, and I understand.
we closed, we have no place to
We
move.
might be homeless.
Seriously.
The best advice I have to you is we need to get a hold of the SEO, the sewer executive officer that came up and said, we've got to put this line in. And see if he will allow you to occupy that house long enough for us to build the system up to support you. In
I
other
mean,
words.
after we move in, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to live in that house while we're in the process of doing the work, is
Okay,
what I'm
so,
saying.
go ahead.
What is the time frame normally?
To be honest, we just discussed it for the first time tonight. It'll go before a council meeting the next time. It will probably take probably
Is that something we
months.
can put on our agenda for a special meeting?
Maybe, but even still, we have to write the specifications, we have to go out for bid, we have to
Do all that.
do all that. It will take months. There's just,
What-
and I know
what-
you don't have months, I understand that.
Yeah, we're
And what I
closing.
would suggest is,
He's coming tomorrow, the SEO, so we're gonna talk to him about the issue, and we talked to you Friday.
I talked to Marvin and your Mike? Is
Yes.
that- Okay.
Yes. So
All
we,
right.
we talked about that contingency. We have to run it by after he gives us some information tomorrow, the solicitor, and then, as I said to you Friday, we'll have more information. But we
Okay,
wanna
so-
help, we definitely.
we
wanna.
we
We would
don't want to
appreciate
discourage anybody
whatever
from coming
help.
into town, absolutely.
Okay.
We're looking forward to moving here, and this
We
house
look
is
forward to having you as a
adorable.
resident.
And we're really excited about it on 23 High Street.
Carroll Township.
Thanks,
So,
yeah.
the situation is that we're supposed to close December 22nd.
Right.
People were buying our house, like, are really excited, they went in there. So from December 22nd.
It's like a domino effect, yeah.
I would suggest that tomorrow, contact Mike. Mike will be in contact with our SEO and get something in writing that says exactly how this can transpire. And hopefully it'll be something that's acceptable to you, to acceptable to the seller, acceptable to the city.
The listing agent is Pam. You guys probably know Pam.
From Carmel Baker.
And she said there's a guy named Dane. You guys probably know Dane. He's a plumber here. Does work for you guys.
He's
We're
just one of the
not-
local plumbers.
Yeah, he's ready to do the work. I mean, he's done all
Right.
this work. And if you get started
Right.
on it, I mean, it could be done in a couple of weeks.
I understand, but he's got to have a manhole to connect to. That's what takes
It's up
time.
there, right? I mean, up where they're taking it to.
I mean, if you wanted to put in your line, the full 135 feet to where the existing manhole is, that could be done immediately. That's going to be expensive to you. What we're trying to do is build a system that addresses not only your problem, but the problem of the rest of the houses that are up
I
there.
see.
And if we do that the way that we envision it, it will make it more economical for you, and you'll have something that works better for you.
Okay, so the bottom line is right here now. I know they gave them a price. The sellers paid for that. Sorry about that. They're gonna have to put that money in escrow if we move in. And I sold real estate for 23 years. She's a real estate. You gotta put it in more than what the cost is, because once we move in there.
Yeah,
if
it's hard,
something
it's hard
comes
to
up-
get anything out of it. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, it's not our responsibility. So we're a little nervous about moving in and that happening, you know? So,
So, can I ask you a question? So, are we talking 3 months from when Mike talks with,
I would say that would probably be about right, to be honest.
hmm,
And you got winter upon us too, that might have some effect on that as well.
so from groundbreaking to completion, how long does that
that doesn't
take?
take.
That won't take long. It's
Okay,
the
like a
process
week?
of
Like a week?
Probably a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, it's the logistics of everything right
It's
now?
the logistics that
Okay.
takes the time.
So, when you said in the next meeting, are we talking the next monthly meeting?
he
Just
just
so I
said-
can get a time frame.
Yeah, it'd be, within the next couple
Okay.
of weeks, for sure.
So we're saying about 4 months before there, I'm sorry, 4 weeks before there is even a decision, and then an additional week for the work?
We could probably make the decision within a couple of weeks.
Okay. Okay.
I really appreciate you coming in. I wanted
Yes.
to meet you and so forth.
Yes. Larry
Larry.
and Sharon Briggs. Briggs, Briggs,
And I look forward to seeing you as residents.
Thank you.
Well, help
Thanks
us
for your
out-
time.
Help us out here, man.
We'll do the
Appreciate it.
best we
Thank you.
can.
All right, you
All
got,
right.
Ellie, now let's go.
Thank you.
Linda Lacy, 1624 Maple Avenue. I just had a question for the couple that is leaving. They live on High Street. How many houses are on High Street, and how many houses are not connected to city sewer?
There's probably.
And how long has this been in effect?
It's been in effect since the houses were built, some 40 years ago.
Okay, and they have not they have not gotten a sewer bill?
They don't get a sewer bill, but they do pay a line usage fee.
That's different.
I know. They're not connected to the sewer system currently.
So they never got a sewage bill in 40 years?
That particular house has a septic tanks on it.
Yeah, but why, if every house has a septic tank on it, why are they having an issue? And didn't they know?
That's our
That
530.
didn't the previous owner know that they were not connected to city
Yeah,
sewer?
and that's the whole point that they're getting at. The previous owner agreed to provide the connection to a public sewer system. But the sale has taken place before that, so they want money in escrow to cover that cost. That's what they said.
So what happened, there was an issue with the septic tank that's on there. The lot size is too small to put a new system in, based on today's standards. So their septic system has an issue.
Has an issue.
It cannot be repaired.
So in order for, does that mean that everybody on High Street has to be hooked up in the city?
No, most of the houses down there are tied to a septic system. There's some people on High Street that are not, and what we're trying to do is put a way so they can be connected to it.
Okay, then what cost is it to the city to do that?
It'll be through the line usage fee.
So our line usage
Of which they
fee
contributed
is
to.
paying for something that should have been done 40 years ago?
Yep, wake up, that's what the whole line usage is for, pay for fixing lines done 40, 60, 100 years ago.
Okay, I'm just confused, as I am confused
Mayor?
about,
May I?
You can try.
Okay, Linda, at one time it was legal to do what they're doing. Okay, there's homes up there, and I'm aware of this situation, that have actually gone down into the mines. And then there's ones that have septic tanks. Well, the DEP doesn't like that. So a lot of these people are finding out when they sell their homes,
They gotta fix it.
they gotta fix that. So the DEP is requiring, eventually all these homes will go into the system, but it's not the city's fault that they weren't put in the system originally. It was legal to do that at the time.
okay,
Now the DEP saying, no, it's not. You have to correct the problem.
okay, but then that falls on our money that
Yep.
we've been putting in the line usage to pay for something
Yep,
that was illegal 40 years ago.
that was legal 40 years.
That was
Yes.
illegal 40
Was
years
legal.
ago.
Was legal.
But we gotta pay for it now.
Yep. You know
Well
what the
stated.
DEP says? Too bad. Gotta do it.
Say la vie. Okay, now other question is, getting back to Alumisource that was on your agenda, because I'm totally confused on that. It was not your administration that signed this cooperative grant agreement with Alumisource.
That's correct.
Okay, so then that held us as the city as liable? Why didn't we know about that in 2020 when that transaction occurred?
I couldn't tell you. I wish I knew about it when I took office. I didn't. In fact, I didn't know about it until the last couple of months.
Okay, then it falls into my other question. Alumisource was sold February of 2021. This agreement was done 2020. So who controls that grant? Is it Alumisource or is it Sims who owns Alumisource? Because now we're just dealing with the name. We're not dealing with the corporation that owns it. We're just doing a name, and I didn't think a name was that powerful.
I do, but, go ahead.
It's the economic growth connection of Westmoreland County.
Mm-hmm. Gave the money to Alumisource that was owned originally by Mr. Hudak, or is that correct?
I think you're getting hung up on the ownership of the company and how the company's operating.
Well, yeah, because if you buy a company, you bought everything.
Correct.
So including the name.
Yeah.
So,
But you're still liable for everything.
Yeah,
You bought their debts too.
yeah, you buy everything.
okay, so why are we involved in it, the
Because
city?
part of this grant, the redevelopment assistance capital grant, a cooperation agreement with the host municipality is required by law.
Then does the city of Monessen get money from that?
They do not.
No, it benefits the Lumen Source.
It
Well,
benefits,
why did
it
we go
benefits a
into-
company that's operating in the city.
But why would the city put their city on the line for this and they're not benefiting from it?
They're not putting the city on the line for this.
He just said we're liable if you don't do this, whatever you gotta do.
There's adequate protections in this agreement that protects the city.
Now, but it wasn't before.
There wasn't now.
Hmm?
He's trying to implement it now.
It has to be implemented.
Okay, but wonder if it doesn't get implicated, then where do we stand?
If what
as a
doesn't
city.
get implemented. I'm not understanding your question.
Okay, you said that you amended whatever contract
No,
was.
and there was no contract entered into. That was the problem. For this grant to be finalized, there was not a contract entered into.
Oh, okay, it just gets a little bit bizarre for me, because I'm not an attorney and I don't quite understand how that could be. How you just do that.
I don't know how it went through.
I don't either.
Mr. Delfonso.
Okay.
This had to be authorized with the city? By the council?
That's what I'm thinking, it had to be.
Normally they are.
I don't recall any of this. Tony, do you recall any of this?
I honestly don't,
Was this done?
by the mayor, just by himself.
Yeah, was this done off the cuff by someone? Would someone have to have signed off on this?
Typically, before the grants process, yes.
Could we find out who did that?
Yeah, because I'm totally
curious.
confused right now, because to me, this seems like it was not legal.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, let me say this. This was presented to the city. We contacted the group out of Westmoreland County
After the fact.
after the fact to make sure
Correct.
everything was in line,
Mm-hmm,
and it was.
mm-hmm,
So I think the city's protected from that end.
okay.
And it's being paid
But
off.
This
by
all-
when you do go into
Excellent.
agreement to fix whatever this is, I think we
I
should
think
know
you gotta
about
look at the
it.
other side of the equation. We're not gonna do anything for a business that's operating in town. That doesn't make much sense either. There was an issue, it's getting resolved.
Yeah, but we should know that. We, the public, should know
You
that.
do know that now.
Now, but we didn't know it before, and then when it gets fixed, we should know about it.
The really funny part about this whole story, and I don't know how much I should really say or not, but the funny part about this whole story is we would get these notices once a year that the payment needs to be made. Why would we be getting a notice that the payment needs to be made? What do we have to do with this? And the next thing you know, it'd get paid. We finally figured out that this was an RCAP that was done by Luminasource. So one day, Gabe Hudock walks in and he says, I want to pay this off. He wants to pay off the RCAP. Fantastic. That means we won't get the notices anymore. Everything goes fine. In order for it to be paid off, we got to get this agreement in place.
But instead, we paid.
It's already been done. It's already happened. And
Well,
that's-
see, then we lost money.
This is
Yeah.
not, this isn't costing the city
This doesn't
any
cost-
money.
It never did.
Well, what were you paying?
We
Weren't paying anything.
We were never paid anything. He paid the state. The state matched the funds, I do believe, through an RCAP, and that's what RCAPs typically do. So he put in a bunch of money, the state put in a bunch of money, he did his improvements, which was concrete and various things that he did over there to handle his aluminum.
But why were we involved?
That was what we never understood until just a couple of months ago, and we said, Gabe walks in and says, I want to pay this. And we're going, wow, this is new. Why are you coming to us?
Right.
He says, because I had an agreement with the city to do this.
There are certain monies available for businesses, industrial businesses such as
I'm
Luminasource.
well aware of that one.
The idea is that they improve their infrastructure, they expand, they create jobs. That's the whole point of these funds.
Okay, yeah, I understand how a cooperative grant works. Don't get, I know that. but I just don't understand how come we didn't know that
I can't answer that. I
beforehand.
wish I knew too.
Me too. But, okay, did I have one more question to Mr. Nestor? And it's a safety concern that I have because I use that road frequently. There has got to be some street lights on 9th Street going up to Knox. It is pitch black, and if I didn't put my high beams on when I was coming down the hill to come to this meeting, I could have ran over somebody who was walking up the hill. So from Schoonamaker all the way up, I think they are working on part of 9th Street, but on the big hill where Reed comes down, it's pitch black. So there was a traffic light, a street light at the end of Knox when you come down the hill. There was one there. Okay, and I just have one other question. This Serenity that's doing that Linden project over on Linden, is it going to be residential or is it going to be rehab facilities?
As I understand it, it'd be residential, but I don't know more than that.
When will you know?
When he goes to redevelopment authority and explains it to him.
Because they're popping up all over Monessen. Not that, I just need to know because there's a lot of kids over in that neighborhood. So I was just a little bit concerned of what was going to be put over there.
He is not doing Section 8. He's not doing county supported stuff. He's trying to build low-cost homes. That's what he's trying to do.
Okay, from my recollection, and I've been around a long time, there is no affordable housing. What do you mean by affordable housing? And we had this conversation before. There is no such thing as affordable housing unless you're going to build a house and rent it forever to pay it off, because from what I understand, the national price to build a house is over $250,000. So to me, that's not low-income housing. So, and all these grants that we have discussions before in the past, how we're getting all these grants to make it affordable, it can't.
Okay, well, these are not questions that we can really address here anyway. Thank you.
Well, that was on the agenda for Linden. Your turn, it was Ed's turn.
Anyway, let's get back to Lumisource. Who was the party that wrote off on it? You said the last administration?
Who was running the show in 2020?
Who's that, Matt Sharon?
He was the mayor.
Matt Sharon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And was it him or was it the CFO that wrote off on it?
I have no idea.
You don't have the paper?
No, I do not.
So you guys conduct business without anything written down?
We didn't conduct the business. You got to get that first through your head.
Well, the city did, so why is the city getting involved now? That
Because
means
he
you're
came-
you're
because
stepping
he
up
came
to
and
take.
has to pay it off.
Ernie, we've answered your question already. It's required for part of the grant.
I understand that. I'm not challenging that. I'm challenging why we have to go to bat to do something that the previous administration did with a previous owner.
Well,
I
Why
don't
would you want to
understand why
penalize?
you people.
Let me ask you this: why would you want to penalize a business that's currently operating down there?
Well, first of all, how are we penalizing all these businesses on the riverbank, making millions of dollars, pay less taxes than
But they're
half the people who own houses
They're
here?
entitled to file these applications. Illumisource did.
Okay, let me ask you this. By you fulfilling that segment, that means the Lumisource will be in a position to acquire funds, right?
They already have.
They already have.
They already have, and then they're gonna acquire more funds too.
No.
No, this is to pay it off.
This is so they can
That's
pay it
it.
off.
This grant
Okay.
is 3 years old at this point.
Yeah, I understand that.
They've got the money, they spent it, it's a done deal. Now they want to pay it off. Because it is a matching grant, they have to pay it off.
Okay, but Matt Shaw wasn't alone. It took 3 out of 5
I
members.
have no idea.
So we're, the other two members, I know Tony had have been one of them.
Okay.
What do you want us to do?
I'll be honest with you,
I
Ernie.
don't remember.
I don't
He was
even
here too,
remember
and I
this.
don't remember.
I'm not blaming you, I'm
No,
blaming.
no, I was
Yeah.
He was
here.
here.
Yeah.
I was here, Ernie.
And you don't know nothing
I don't
about it
remember
either.
any of this.
I don't remember.
I just don't know how secrecy keeps evolving in our affairs. It never goes away, secrecy.
Well, we're trying to bring this one to light and put an end to it.
The bottom line is you people gotta step up to help the Monessen residents.
That's exactly what we're
okay?
doing.
Well, I don't know, you guys got sweetheart deals here and there with the
We
big
have no
business.
sweetheart deals anywhere.
Okay, the other report is what happened to the boat launch that I asked for? The boat launch is a time bomb that may go, especially if we got a real bad winter, and then the water pushes the whole thing out. Then what?
Then the Corps of Engineers has to intercede.
Yeah,
Exactly.
at the cost of Monessen.
Monessen's got nothing to put up, so it would have to be.
Put up, you're using the facility.
We have no money budgeted for the boat launch.
Ask Kim Moore, she'll give you the money, let's just cover it.
You getting money from Ward, Miss
I
Ward?
hope so.
How much?
About $250,000, I hope.
They're getting the money from Kim Moore.
250,000. Would that be
No surprise.
allowable for repairing roads? Or is that already spent?
I believe it's committed.
Committed. So we're not getting any money really to address the basic functions of
That is correct.
city, county.
Would depend on what you
city
consider
government.
basic functions, yes.
Okay, so how much money do we have right now to end the year 2023? And how much we still in the red,
You-
192,000?
We're in the black.
You're in the black. Now, how did you turn 192 minus 2 weeks ago
Where'd
into
you-
the black today?
You asked as of today.
Well, I'm saying towards 2023, the end. Where do we stand? We still at minus 92,000? 192,000? Or did it go higher?
It'll probably be somewhere around 85,000,
Or-
possibly.
Where's the additional money coming from?
Well, there's still the possible sale of the building.
This building's not gonna sell this year.
I'm not banking on it,
Yeah, it's not gonna sell.
but we're probably about 180,000 total.
So we'll be 180,000 going January 1st.
I'll be carrying something over to possibly pay in 2024.
Okay, I'm just trying to get answers, that's all. Just one last thing. Believe it or not, I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
Thanks,
too.
Ernie.
It took all that time to say that.
Can they apply for a grant for that thing? When are they gonna apply for a grant?
What
For
thing?
the boat launch? For the boat launch?
I'm
You need to start somewhere, you have to apply.
I'm sure, if I remember correctly, the conversation last meeting when that was brought up said, we're waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers to get back.
It is the Army Corps of Engineers that we're waiting on. You can't do anything without them. And Mike has been trying to get hold of him so we could have a meeting, and it just hasn't happened.
We'll get Kim Moore on it. She'll get on it.
Please.
Edel Fever, Keystone Drive. Tony, that you mentioned, I was looking at that article back in October at a meeting where the, Mr. Mayor, you said 192 plus deficit is projected, and what are you saying now the deficit is?
It's about there. It's
About
about
there.
right around in there. It depends, it can fluctuate a little bit.
Let me ask you this. When did the financial picture change for Monessen that it actually got into 190
Well,
to?
the
Let me just interject something else. The previous year, you did a good job with 131,000 being carried over into this year.
two things happened last year.
3.
Okay, I'm gonna say two. You can come up with a third one.
Okay.
I know for a fact two of them. Two things happened last year. One, there was $192,000 from the finish of the sale of what the health center was owed. Okay, he paid that off. 2, Marvin was able to secure $93,000 when they went around and did the telephone poles, when they were digging them up and redoing them. That's huge. That went right on the bottom line and actually went, it's no secret, it went to the police MMO that we owed. We owe at the end of the year. That's exactly where all that money went. Plus, we were able, with Council Together's work, we were able to have about $160,000 in the black last year. This year, we don't have those 2 big revenues that helped. They made.
When did you know this?
When did I know what? I've known all year that we didn't have that money coming through because nothing we could think of as spectacular was gonna happen. I mean, if we'd have sold the building for, say, $60,000, okay, that would go towards what we're looking at the deficit. At the end of the year, if we take out the rest of what I owe is still on the MMO, which is about $212,000, okay?
Okay.
We should come out roughly around $70,000 or $80,000 in the black. Okay? That's to the end of the year. Everything, mostly, hopefully, everything paid off, except for that. So when I'm telling you it's like 180 or 170 or somewhere around there for what you would say a deficit, it's we don't have the complete funds to pay our responsibility to the MMO.
That's my
this
next
year.
question.
Okay.
About the MMO.
So what I'm looking to do is, we've applied for a TAN note, okay? We apply for the TAN note, the first of the year we get our TAN note, hope to God. It looks like we're going to get it, am I correct, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay? Take what balance.
The same bank.
Yes, take the balance minus what we have left, okay? And pay that MMO off. And then, I mean, it's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't make these figures up.
I understand that.
And we don't look to incur any finance charges or anything from the state then. That's what we're looking to do, is to be able to have a check cut December 31st and pay that MMO.
Well, you know, in that same article, Mayor Mosher said he and Mr. Korpash met with Kim Ward, and they were looking for state help for Monessen, financing $3.4 million loan to satisfy the minimum municipal obligation. Is that still in process?
Still in process, but we also said at that time it would take a lot of time to accomplish.
I see.
So
let me ask this. Each year, does the city have to make exactly a contribution of $400,000 to the MMO?
It
has.
varies from year to year based upon retirements.
But it has in the past. Next year, it drops to 338 or 40.
360 or thereabouts.
360. It's
So
dropped
what's this year's obligation?
422.
420.
So actually, we're going to end of the year not caught up.
Well, no, that is correct.
Okay. Why not?
Don't have the money. At the end of the day, when you pay all the
Let
bills.
me ask, I may be wrong, but I didn't get a copy of that auditor that was in, what, August or somewhere? Did he not, since I don't have a copy, and this may just be off the top of my head, didn't he ask the city to put aside monies?
Absolutely.
What happened?
There's no money to put aside.
No money to put aside. If you get.
Yeah, but if you have
if
I get a Social Security payment and I take 10 cents out of a dollar,
And put it aside, that's fine. We put that 10 cents a dollar aside, we're not gonna be able to pay for our police, or we're not gonna be able to pay for our road department, we're not gonna be able to pay for something. We are spending every single penny we got to to fund the city.
Well, let me ask you this, how about the businesses along the river, like the Coke plant? Are they paying their fair share? Is that really a good,
They're paying a fee, they're paying taxes, they're paying they're paying employment taxes, real estate taxes, and so forth. Are they being taxed at the same rate that they should be? Maybe not, but you
No,
can't
they're
just change
definitely
that.
not. They're paying $10,400.
You would think a business, instead of like a homeowner, you would think a business would be contributing much more to a tax base of a city. And how many businesses are there exactly around the river? It's about 8. Well, let me ask you another question. I don't want to keep going on with this. Do you plan ahead for this MMO?
Absolutely.
Come January, do you plan ahead?
It's in the budget, absolutely.
It is. Monthly?
No, it doesn't work, you have to understand, it doesn't work like you've got 17 cookie jars, and this goes here, this goes here.
Why not?
Because it doesn't work that way. Okay?
You have a truck breakdown.
All right? If you look, and I'm sure you'll get a copy of the budget when we finalize it after next week. All
But
right?
the mayor said that's flexible. That budget is just that budget I was told was always in flux. So if
No,
you
there's
hand
a
me
budget that we have to file by the end of the year.
Yeah, but you also, I remember asking you some time ago, months ago, about the budget, and you always said, well, it's in flux, there's nothing, in other words, there's no definitive budget. You just have a outline.
Let me put it to you this way, okay? Pino's made a comment about Center Ward, and there's other things people said, okay? No, wait a minute, no, I'm not being derogatory, I'm just gonna let me make my point. My point is, and we've had discussions about this, all of us, okay? I have driven the budget to be practical, meaning that if I have this much money, I have this much money. If someone says, well, we heard, or there might be this grant or this, guess what?
Yeah.
I don't waste my time on it. I do not even put it in consideration, because
I understand
until
that.
I get it, it's in my hands, it's worthless to me. Wait a minute.
Yeah, but
just like when you said about compartmentalizing, understand something, many years ago, and I'm not gonna fault anybody, doesn't make a difference what happened in the past. And you remember coming to the meetings, I argued and fought real hard, even with my fellow council members, that I wanted a separate where the refuge money went. Because I felt that the refuge, when you pay your garbage, it only should go to garbage. It doesn't go to anybody else, it doesn't go to a payroll, it goes nowhere. And I hope my colleagues will think it's been hopefully successful, because that's where we pay our refuge out of. And it's able to maintain what has been negotiated by the Refuge Authority of what the next bill is going to be to pay that. But I can't do that out of everything, all right? I wish I could take a small chunk of what we've accumulated in debt service, which is $1.2 million. Put it somewhere. It's $1.1 million right now. Now, we're gonna have a payment of $300,000 here at the end of the year. Okay, debt service, and another $74,000 that'll be at the next meeting. But we have watched what we've done, so that money that's a separate line item for taxes, okay? You with me so far? Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. That only goes there, just like the library and everything else. It looks sometimes to a lot of people that there's a big bundle of cash here. All
no,
right?
I never thought that.
I'm not saying you did, but some people may think there's a big bundle of cash, but you can't rob Peter to pay Paul to do something else. It's wrong, it's injustice, and I'm not going to do it as long as I'm CFO.
You're not taking money out of other accounts to pay other bills?
No. Our bills, what you see at $444,000 is a general fund, and that pays payroll and day-to-day bills. I do not take, nor would council allow me to take, money from somewhere else to do that. Trust me, you can ask the mayor or anybody else, I'm adamant as hell that at the end of the year, we're not taking art money to pay something else.
Well, let me just I'm not faulting you for this statement.
I just want you to
I
understand.
understand that. I
That's all.
understand what you're saying. Last year around this time, and this, you know, this was a reasonable statement because the mayor was very proud of you for beginning the year going into the into the black. But you made this statement, maybe you should adjust this statement. You said, my goal 3 years from now is that I give back 1 mil to the taxpayers. Now you have 2 years to give 1 mil.
Absolutely. I'll stand by that. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. Does the rest of council want that to happen? Probably not. But I can make that statement just personally, because I have a goal to try to do something right for the citizens. Whether I'll be able to obtain it, I can't tell you that.
And if you don't obtain it, what will your argument be?
My argument's nothing. I tried. I failed. That's all. I tried my best. Would you rather have me try something?
Well, I'd
and
rather
really-
have you not tell me, and then when the time's up, you said, guess what, Ed? I saved you 1 mil. It took me 3 years, but I saved. What a surprise. Christmas present. Let me ask you one more thing, and then I'll stop. That municipal pension reporting program, MMO, I guess. I looked it up. And these are the counties, these are the boroughs, cities in Pennsylvania. And this, I'm looking under Monessen City, and it has assets and liabilities. And off to the side, it says minimum distressed. So the figure here is reported from 7/14/2023. It says Monessen City assets over 7 million. Liabilities, 9 million. So the difference is almost 2 million. So we are distressed, aren't we?
Yeah. Let's put it to you this way.
Will that ever be brought down?
Yes.
And
Not
what
in our
kind of-
lifetime,
Not in our lifetime.
but yes, and here's why.
But how do these
Wait.
other ones
Wait.
not
Wait.
fall into that system?
Wait,
There's several that fell into it, though.
Pardon me?
Okay.
There's many that did fall into it, though.
but,
Oh, yeah, there are, but
wait
you
a
know,
minute.
out of maybe 25 in here, well, 30, 50,
Mr.
there's
LaFleur.
maybe 6
hold on, well, hold on.
per page.
Wait, you want me to answer that question?
No.
Did you say no?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It won't happen in our lifetime. None of us will be on council, no one of us will be alive. Well, we're talking 20-some years, 20, 25 years.
But it took that many years to get that way.
Exactly.
No, what you're missing, the point is, if you go back a couple administrations, they took bonds out to pay for the new fire department, the police department, the library, and everything else. Those bonds were 40-year bonds. 40 years the city was going to be in debt for well over $700,000, $800,000 for one and $300,000 for another one.
Million.
If you take that money out and say a miracle, it got paid off next year, all right? That's income on debt service that the city doesn't have to go after their taxpayers on, because it's not a debt anymore. That debt is there, and it's long there. And until our grandkids and everything else are done with it, sooner or later, when that's paid off, yes, hopefully the city will be on a big rebound, and it will have a lot more finances to work with.
Well, is the city not obligated with this loan for the sewage? Isn't that a 40-year loan?
Yeah, but that's manageable. That's manageable because you get income in to pay
Yeah,
that.
but if you do add that up to another loan from the state for that, what was that, 3.4 million? 3 million to fund the MMO? Yeah, that's another debt.
There's no debt
We're
for
running
that.
this around in a circle over and over and over again, and we're not getting anywhere with it. So let's try to wrap this up.
Okay, and then this is really intriguing. Mary, you said this, so So what that would really do is save us over $4 million over the next 20 years. What are we talking about there?
That was if we could finance the MMO.
Tax anticipation.
And you'd say 4 million, and you're borrowing 3.4 million.
But then,
Boy, my math is no good.
We're not borrowing anything.
We've not got a deal done to do. We're trying to do it, but we have not got a deal set up for
And
that.
what if you don't, what if it falls?
Nothing,
through?
nothing, Venture, nothing.
Mayor, I apologize. Motion to adjourn tonight's meeting on November 20th at 8:04 PM.
Is there a second?
no, but I mean, state aid, fine.
Somebody want a second?
So she already, Lois seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
What we're trying to do with that long-term
I have two questions.
obligation.
Mayor,
That was not
Mayor, I have two questions.
You were just walking away from the
Yeah, that's
podium.
no-